The KDA Misfortune Yas comp has been dominating the meta basically the entire set, so I'm gonna show you how to play this comp right now. So it has been nerfed a bit. They nerfed Yas and some different components of the comp, but if we take a look at the win rates right here, it's basically the top 5 or 6 highest win rate comp right now, so it's still at a really good spot even though it got nerfed a bit. So when it comes to the units, I'm just gonna start off with that. It's not that versatile actually. You play Kaisa, Misfortune, Bard, Kennen, Echo, Nico and Lilia. And these are basically the core of the comp which you kinda need to play. And it's because the comp revolves around Yas, and what Yas does, it boosts your HP and it boosts your damage based on how many traits you got. And when you play these units together, you just get a lot of different traits. So it's a bit weird to play a bunch of 1 costs in a, level 7 reroll comp. But it's just because they give a lot of traits. Kennen, he gives 3 traits, as well as Lilia, who gives 3 traits. So that's why they fit in this comp. And then you might ask yourself, but when I got these 7 units in, what do I play then? And that's a bit situational depending on what headliner you got. But if you got a normal headliner on Misfortune, like Yas +1, then you just go for either, let's see, Ziggs for Dazzler. And that's preferably when you're carrying Bard. If you're carrying Misfortune, you want to go for Illusion, so you get another Yas, which is really good. But you're not always gonna get these kinds of units. So basically just play the best thing you get. It's not the end of the world if you just put in a random 2-star, Blitzcrank or a 2-star, I don't know, Sack. It's not really that picky. You basically pick whatever you get at level 8, right? Because you're probably not gonna have that much gold by then. But let's say if you get a headliner, let's say Guardian Nico, then you just throw in some more Guardians. If you get, let's say, +1 Sentinel from Echo, then you put in a Blitzcrank, you get the deal. So let's go over the itemization on this comp right here. So what you want to do is you basically itemize Misfortune pretty much every time. And Bard is something you only itemize if you're carrying him. And he gets a lot stronger by his headliner. So he has a scaling ability once you have him as your headliner. He shoots like another ability every 8th cast. So if you get the headliner Bard, it's really good. Otherwise, just itemize MF. Other than that, you really want to have a strong front line so your backline survives, right? So it's either you itemize Nico or you itemize Echo. Generally, I believe Nico is a bit stronger to itemize, but if you get a 3-star Echo and a 2-star Nico, of course you're gonna itemize Echo. So there's a bit of variation, but the general rule is you go for Nico, and if you get a 3-star Echo, you can put items on him. I generally like to put more supportive items on him, like Sunfire and maybe a Spark even, just because he's some good aura items. And he's a tank that survives a long time, so you get value out of those items. So about the itemization on the units, so the specific items. On Misfortune, items are really important. So the 2 like BIS items on her, it's Ginsus and it's Last Whisper. You see, you basically get half a lower placement if you build these items. If we look at the stats right here, so that's a huge diff. And the last 3rd item is not that big of a deal. You can go for either a Death Blade, Infinity Edge, or a Giant Slayer. Maybe even a Hodge or a red buff. It doesn't matter that much. Use any item that gives her more AD. Even, you know, Guard Breaker if you don't find a better item, right? And if we take a look at Bard, you only itemize him if you get him as a headliner, of course. And what his headliner does is you basically get stronger every 8 cast. So what synergizes well with that, and that's gonna be basically mana regeneration. So Sojin and what's this item called now again? Adaptive Helm is really good on him. So you get more mana, you cast more, and this ability gets stronger. And on the last item, in my opinion, what I think is best is Archangel or Death Cap. And that's because they give flat AP. Don't get me wrong, items like UL Gauntlet, Giant Slayer, they're all good, but they only buff the damage on his ability. Bard also heals your team, and you know, having a crit on a heal, it doesn't work, right? But having more AP, it gives him more damage, and he gives him more healing as well. So it just synergizes better with his ability. And on the last items is gonna be on your tanks, right? So any item here that you get is, I usually slam it. Like Warmog's always good, Steadfast Heart is always good, like Redemption is really good. Even Crown is really good on Echo and Nico, especially if you get the Crown Guard, you know, augment, and you get 2 of those. But even items like Bramble, Gargoyle, you know, Dragon's Claw is really good if there's a lot of AP or AD in the lobby, right? So you slam what you get here, in my opinion. You can even build items on both Nico and Echo, but prioritize getting 3 items on one tank before starting to itemize the next unit. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this comp, to be honest. It's not a lot more to it than that, but I'm gonna go over a few augments. We can't go over everyone, that would just take 5 hours. I think you guys would not be in for that, but we can just take a look at a few just to get a general picture of what is good. So the best augments, let's see what they are. I think the Yas one is really good just because it's a Yas comp, and what this does, it just gives more stats to, you know, the Yas champions, which works perfect for the comp. And what I've noticed in this comp is basically all the items that either buff your units or buff your board strength are what is really good in the comp. So, or even augments that give you a lot of items. Like when I look at this list, it's just like target dummies, it's, you know, freeze a crowd, it's, you know, you get another what's it called, thieves gloves, or it's just augments that buff your stats, like tons of stats, cybernetic bulk, gifts of the fallen, and Jewel Lotus. So the things that are really good are the things that buffs your units or gives you more items. Like I don't see a lot of augments that you know, help your team with getting more golds and more rerolls. At least at stage 3 and 4. But if you're at stage 2-1, then it can be good to take, you know, a March of Progress or a shopping spree, because then you can reroll through the entire game and get that value through the entire game. But at 3 and 4, you really want to take augments that buff your board strength, not things that buff your economy. But yeah, let's get into the video. So this is something I've started doing. I've started taking this team planner. So since this comp is, you know, you only play these 6 units as your core comp, I feel like it's pretty nice to just have this team planner. So it lights up when one of these units appear in the shop, so then I don't you know, have the chance to miss any of these units, right? Which is really nice. So that is something I recommend you take as well. So as you saw, I took Econ Augment as my first augment. I feel like this is the only place where Econ Augment is acceptable to take in this comp. At stage 3 and 4, it's pretty useless, right? But now I get my level up a bit faster. I can find my Bard and I can find my Misfortune, Nico and Echo a bit sooner, which is really nice, right? So I have an easier chance of hitting them 3-star later since I have more econ. So we're just picking up every, you know, Kaisa, every Kennen, every Lilia we can. In the exception of when we're selling them to make some econ, you know, if we need to hit those econ thresholds. And when it comes to the early game, you can't really be too picky about which headliner you're going to take, because you're gonna sell your headliner later anyway. So just take any headliner that buffs KDA or Superfan or Guardian or something like that, which fits into the comp, and then you're just gonna sell them once you're rolling down for Bard or Misfortune, right? So in that case, I just decided to take a glove, and that's because I really need to, you know, get my Misfortune item. So it's kind of awkward putting it on Lulu, but she's just a random item holder for now, right? Because the hard part in TFT is not knowing the comp, it's about knowing how to get to the comp and being as strong as possible once you get there so you can win the game. A little mistake I did here is I, at this point, forgot that Gnar was a super fan. So what I should have done is place Gnar with these items that Lulu has, so I could get 5 super fan, because then I actually would get a radiant item on Lilia, which would be a lot stronger than what Lulu is. So that was a little mistake I didn't think about, because I have Lilia as my headliner, so I get +1 super fan. So if I had Nord here, that would be so strong with a radiant item. So I realized it here and I was like, damn, that was kind of an int. But you know, you live and you learn. Now I know that into next time, and you guys do as well, so you don't have to make the same mistake that I did right here. And we're just gonna put out Lulu for now, so I can sell her if I get a lot of gold here, or if something happens, you know. So I'm just gonna putting in another Kaisa temporarily, since it's a minion round, something I do a lot. Use a low min-max, which you can do, which I recommend for all of you. So here I actually get a lot of Bard items. So this is not some items that are particularly good on MF, right? So, but the thing is I have 2 Bard items. So here I'm looking at the Bard headliner angle. As you know, Bard isn't really that good, but if you get the headliner, you can start stacking his abilities, so he gets stronger into the late game. So I really need to find a Bard headliner right here, right? So we have some pretty good augments. Crown Guard, that is actually pretty cool. But I decided to not go for it since I didn't have another Crown Guard. I feel like that augment is good if you have like 2 Crown Guards, but if you only get 1, it's like not enough value. So I'm just gonna reroll that. And I just got a random combat augment, which is fine. Harm assist, get some more, you know, healing. I get some more damage as well. So it's all good. So this guy actually has a pretty cool Kale here. Not often you see a Kale popping off, right? But this guy is making it work. Just a random item holder for him, of course, but still pretty cool to see, right? So that's another example of like headliners. You just take whatever you get to be strong in the early game, and you know, transition out of them in the late game, because it's just really strong, like getting a free 2-star in the early game, because 2-star is basically what makes you win streak in the early game. It's not all about, you know, traits and items. Just having another 2-star unit is a really big you know, factor towards you you know, getting a big win streak and winning those early game fights, right? So here I am looking at... what am I looking at? Probably that... I would say rod, but we already have a rod, so I'm just gonna take the highest cost unit so we get some econ going. And we finally found an echo, which is really big. We could even slam what's it called? There we have it, a dragon claw, just so we get a bit more frontline in the early game. Because these 4 items, we already know what they're gonna be. It's gonna be what's it called? Spear of Sojin, and it's gonna be a Ginso's Rage Blade for Misfortune, and the Spear for Bard, right? So we can slam those 2 components towards Dragon's Carcass. What else are we gonna build, right? So here I'm just... I just like to level up a bit weird sometimes. Usually it's not that good to, you know, level up once you're on a loss streak, because you're already on a loss streak. You don't need to force or spend money just to, you know, get a win, because you get more money if you lose, and you lose econ by leveling up. So it kind of doesn't make sense there, but it's only 1 loss, you know, so it's not that big of a deal. And I feel like this 1 more MF I put in, it maybe saved me 1 unit, so I lose like 1 gold and I maybe save 2 HP, which I think is worth in my book. So that's just kind of my playstyle. I like to level up like that sometimes, but just don't do it if you're at like a big loss streak in the early game. Then it doesn't make sense, right? So it's you have to know when you can do it and when not, right? And here I got my Bard, which is really good. I actually don't even need to be holding these Seraphines. I don't even know why I'm doing that. But I am. But we don't need to hold them. We're never going to play Seraphine, right? She doesn't fit in this comp. Doesn't give me the traits I need. And here we actually found Ilawi, which is really good. It's just gonna be better than that. You know, flashback to once I said, you know, never play anything than the core comp. But in this case, I think Ilawi is better than Echo for now. She's gonna give me 2, you know, tentacles, which has a lot of HP, gives me a lot of tankiness. So for now, I'm gonna play Ilawi, and once I get a 2-star Echo, maybe I place him in. Maybe then it's more worth it, because we get all of those traits and all of that. But we can put in Ilawi at level 8 just as another unit. Like, we can't guarantee that we get maybe, you know, a Lucian, or that we get what's it called? Another 5, what's it called? A Sig. So having that Ilawi is just good, because she's a 5 cost and really tanky. And I didn't go over the augments there. I kinda rambled on something else, but we're just gonna take that Gas, because that augment is basically just broken, and we're playing a Gas comp. Our Misfortune and Bard, they're gonna be our carries. So it just makes sense to go for that augment. And it's just really broken. It has really good stats, really high win rates and all of that shenanigans. So now we're at level 7. We're gonna slow roll here. So this is the general time when you start slow rolling in this comp. The only time you don't slow roll at level 7 is if you get a Bard headliner. Then you can actually slow roll at level 6, so you get a higher chance of hitting Bard, and then you can level up to put in to start rolling for Misfortune. But since we didn't have the headliner yet, I decided to just go level 7 this game to get a bit stronger. And now we're gonna start slow rolling. So at this point, you can actually sell your headliner. I would recommend doing it after or at the mini round, so you have a time to change and you get a free reroll, so you get another headliner in your shop. But this is the time where you start selling your headliners, so you get the chance of getting, you know, a Misfortune headliner once you're rolling. for getting a Bard headliner, which we get there. So now we're gonna sell that headliner. So a little thing I did there, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I had another backup Lilia, because I knew once I get another headliner, I need to replace that Lilia. So the headliner you get in the early game, if it's a part of your comp, make sure to keep a spare copy of it so you can play that unit, because it's gonna be hard to find a 2-star Lilia once you're high level, because she's a 1-cost, right? And there's 2 mistakes I did right here. I'm gonna go over them. The first mistake I did is I actually built a UL Gauntlet on Bard, which is kinda troll, because Superfan, it already gives my Bard another item. So now I have a random UL Gauntlet on Bard, which is not good. But it's fine, I can put that item on Misfortune. She gets AP, she gets a bit of attack speed, and her ability can crit of the UL Gauntlet, so it's not the end of the world. Actually worked out here. And the second mistake I did is just, you know, I put my items on Bard and not on, you know, the headliner Bard. So now I'm in this weird spot where I can't stack my headliner Bard, because I have to play my Bard with items, otherwise I would be so weak and start losing. So but in this round I'm gonna put in the Bard temporarily, just so he stacks a bit, you know. Try to put some, you know, try to cut the bleeding, or whatever you wanna say. And since we're rolling for free costs like Misfortune, we're also gonna re-roll for our other free costs, because it's gonna be easier to hit them, because we have the highest chance of hitting free costs right now, as well as it's easier to hit other free costs if you're rolling for other one, because then there's less free costs in the pool. You get the deal. So we're gonna roll for Echo and we're gonna roll for Nico. That's gonna be a big spike. If we hit like Bard and Misfortune really early, we don't have to 3-star our tanks, then we can level up. We'll see once we're there what spot we're in and what is best for what's best then. But yeah, now I'm gonna need to start rolling pretty aggressively, because I need to put in this Bard if I'm gonna start winning. So we're gonna just need to roll crazy right here, just so we can 3-star our Bard. There we have our, you know, Misfortune. But we still have to roll for Bard, since we have the items on our non-headliner Bard right here. So usually you slow roll in this comp, but in this case I kinda need to roll aggressively to, you know, get that 3-star. It's gonna be a really big spike here. So this comp is already really broken, the one I'm facing. The country Samira, as you see, is even beating me right here. I actually made a video of that comp as well, so if you're looking for another broken comp to help you climb through the ranks, be sure to check that out after this video. So boom, there we finally found the Bard. And in this scenario, it's actually best for me to level up and not roll for Nico and Echo. And why is that, you might ask yourself? Getting a 3-star Nico, isn't that really big? So the first thing is we only have 1 item on her, so it's not... if we have 3 items on her, maybe I would roll for it, just because that would be a big diff. And the second reason is we're really close to hitting the level up, as well as we already have our next in unit. So we have Lucian on the bench, and getting him in is gonna be a big spike, just so we get 4 Yas in. It's gonna help us a lot, right? And in this case, we're never going to get level 9, so now I can actually start rolling for, you know, a Nico and a Echo 3-star. So, you know, it's all good. We're also at like 1 HP left, so we need to level up to make sure we win, right? And as you saw right there, my what's it called? my my Echo, he has my Sunfire, and that's something I do pretty much every game. If I get a Sunfire, I mean, there's a few exceptions to it, but usually you want to put the Sunfire on your second tank, because Sunfire is not really helping your tank get tankier and they get stronger. It's more of a support item that, you know, burns the enemies and makes them heal less. So having a third item on Eco is gonna make her a lot tankier than having the Sunfire. So we're not gonna put that item on Eco, we're gonna have it on Echo. But let's say it's the last round of the game and you don't have a last item for Nico, then you can put the Sunfire on her, just because she stays alive longer and she can get more value out of it. She can burn more people and all of that. But if you can get a last item on her, it's better to put, you know, the Sunfire on your secondary tank. So we're gonna take what's it called? Static Shiv here. Just because we have our board as you know, carry. So getting that magic shred is gonna remove so much of their, you know, MR, and it's gonna make Bard do a lot more damage. So even though it's not a good item on, you know, Lucian, it's actually the best item I could have taken right there, just to make my Bard deal more damage. And this play, you can debate it. I can see why this is a wrong play. I could, you know, roll down to get a 3-star Nico, get a 3-star Echo. But I'd rather just get the guarantee to get another unit in and get a bit stronger than having RNG, you know, make me not hit a 3-star. In this way, I'm at least guaranteed to put in another unit. And I also think someone was contesting my units. Yeah, this guy's also playing Nico. So in that case, I'd rather just level up, because it's gonna be so hard to find the contested unit. So in that case, I just level up to make sure I get another unit in. So just having this random, you know, sack in is not bad, right? He can soak up some more damage. Even if it's just 2 seconds, that's like MF and Bard killing 2 seconds, because they just stay alive longer before the enemy team gets onto them, right? So onto this carousel, I'm basically looking for tank items right here. That's all I get. I already have my MF and Bard fully stacked, so no need to get more AD items. Like, Lucian isn't gonna do that much more damage if I, you know, get him another item. So just a third item on Nico is gonna be the best. Basically, getting another tank item is gonna make me deal more damage, just because I stay along for longer, right? Sadly, I didn't really find another good unit to put in there. Sad. So on to the last fight right here. Actually, a 8-bit comp, which managed to get a second place. So respect to that guy. But anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, you know, be sure to subscribe for more TFT Set 10 content. And I'll keep the videos coming out. Peace out, everybody. Ciao.